In the late 19th century, a banana was an exotic luxury. It was highly perishable, and its clock started ticking the second they were picked. The entire market for this fragile fruit was locked down by a single corporate giant, the United Fruit Company. They controlled the shipping, the supply, and the prices. Operating at such a massive scale meant United Fruit prioritized consistency over efficiency. When thousands of bananas went bad while sitting on the shipping docks, executives simply wrote it off as an unavoidable cost of doing business. When a monopoly optimizes for national distribution, they inherently create localized logistical blind spots. These gaps represent massive opportunities for any outsider agile enough to spot them. This flowchart maps out how United Fruit sorted their imported cargo at the docks. The completely green bananas were loaded onto trains for cross-country distribution, while the ones already turning yellow were sold to local markets at a discount. But look at this bottom tier. These are the spotted bananas, fruit that ripened a bit too quickly during the sea voyage. This single category made up 15% of all imported stock. Because they couldn't survive a long train ride, United Fruit treated this edible fruit as waste. They threw it all away because it didn't fit into their rigid logistical model. Sam Zemery was a 16-year-old immigrant who arrived at the docks with exactly $50. He walked right up to the managers and offered to buy the entire discarded pile of spotted fruit. With only $50 to invest, Sam couldn't compete for the premium green fruit. His limited capital forced him to find a market in the specific trash the monopoly considered worthless. Sam loaded his cheap bananas onto a commercial train, but immediately ran into the physical bottlenecks of the 19th century rail transport. The trains moved at a brutal crawl, making frequent, unexplained stops. Out in the baking heat, his already ripe bananas were actively starting to rot. If he waited to reach his final destination, the entire inventory would spoil, wiping out his savings. Sam jumped off the stalled train, ran down the dirt road, and found a Western Union telegraph office. This map illustrates his workaround. Instead of waiting for the physical train to move, Sam used the telegraph network to shoot messages miles ahead of his location. He contacted grocery store owners along the route, offering them a flash sale if they met the train with cash. By the time the train finally pulled into each town, buyers were already lined up. He cleared the entire inventory before it could spoil, turning his $50 into nearly $200. Sam effectively weaponized the telegraph to outrun the rail system, turning a logistical failure into a high-speed distribution network. Over the next few years, Sam repeated this exact process. He flooded local markets with cheap, ripe fruit and steadily ate into United Fruit's premium margins. The monopoly retaliated by artificially delaying Sam's shipments at the docks and dumping their own fruit at a loss, specifically to crush his profit margins. Sam realized that middleman arbitrage is always vulnerable to the supplier. To survive, he had to stop buying from United Fruit and start growing the bananas himself. Leaving the relative comfort of the American ports, Sam moved directly into the malaria-ridden jungles of Central America to build his own plantations from scratch. To bypass the gatekeepers of the industry, the outsider was forced to build his own ground-up infrastructure. But building that infrastructure required aggressive land acquisition, and Sam was soon drowning in debt. His American partner panicked, demanding they halt expansion and play it safe. This chart shows the financial risk Sam took next. To get rid of his cautious partner, Sam bought him out entirely, consolidating his own ownership to 90%. To fund this, he took out loans from the criminal underworld at 50% interest rates. Achieving unimpeded control over a corporate vision often requires accepting a level of personal risk that most people would consider catastrophic. The gamble paid off. Sam built a vertically integrated machine. He owned the Central American soil, the cargo ships, and the sales networks. The penniless immigrant now sat at the head of a company that generated millions, commanding hundreds of thousands of acres and a private shipping fleet. Managing a business of this scale required Sam to negotiate directly with government officials and power brokers to secure the cheapest land possible. By controlling the land and the local officials, Sam's influence eventually outgrew national borders.
He had reached a point where his business interests dictated national policy, and he was willing to unseat any government that challenged his harvest.